Hey everybody, it's Bust with an update video for the future of the channel. And so it's been about 2 months since the old Riot Games Legends of Runeterra PvP competitive format rug pull, and it's taken me a bit of time to get my bearings in terms of what I want to do for the future of the channel and just kind of gaming in general. And so after that happened, we immediately jumped into Hearthstone. It felt like a good time to go back to the game. The 10-year anniversary was coming up, and the Whiz Bang set was due to come out within a few weeks. I think it came out last week, but it just didn't do enough to grab my attention. It's not to say that I didn't have fun. I enjoyed jumping back into Hearthstone, but I knew that it wasn't going to be a real long-lasting affair. And so I started looking out elsewhere. We jumped into Balatro after that. That's what's on your screen right now. That's the content that we've been doing for about the past month or so. But I'm also getting to the end of my interest in Balatro, and that's really kind of left me in this space. Well, like, what's next? What are we going to do now? How do we tie in some of these learnings and findings that we've had from Balatro and apply it to the next thing? And so, it's got me back to that idea of just getting to the roots of what I wanted to do within the content creation space, and that was come out and do drafts and do drafting games and do limited formats. We really, kind of cut our teeth doing the expedition draft format of Legends of Runeterra. When that was ripped out of the game, we kind of had to figure out what we wanted to do. I tried to find some other drafting games, but nothing was really catching my fancy. And so we jumped into the competitive PvP scene. It's not to say that I didn't have fun. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. And so now I'm wanting to just kind of get back into drafting, get back into these limited formats, and see what we can do from there. Now, the caveat that I have to kind of apply to getting back into drafting and getting into limited formats is there's not a ton of kind of long form ways to get back into it. If you have your collectible card game space like Magic and Hearthstone and stuff, but those games aren't really drawing my attention anymore. I would love to pick up a competitive card game and just play it for the next 5 years, but nothing out there right now is just really doing it for me, and so that's not really there. I do like the drafting aspect of auto battlers. That's something that's certainly on the table. I've played a ton of Hearthstone Battlegrounds and a ton of Teamfight Tactics. I just don't record it. I really do enjoy those drafting games, but those two that I've mentioned are a little bit too long form for me. After that, it does bring you to the kind of single player deck building style games like Balatro that we've been playing, Path of Champions, if you're, of course, I'm sure familiar with it, and those style of Slay the Spire type of games, and that's the other thing that's kind of on the table. Now, the thing with the games like Balatro and Slay the Spire are, since they don't really catch expansions, right? If you look at Hearthstone or any of the card collecting games or things like Teamfight Tactics, they have expansions that come out every 3 to 6 months, which essentially give you like a new and fresh game. And a lot of these indie games and in these deck builders, you don't really get that. And so I know that like Slay the Spire has put out one new champion, but they've put out one new champion in like the 5 years that the game has been out. That's not something that's really going to draw me in. And so what my intent to do going forward is to play a game on kind of a limited basis. With Balatro, we've gotten to kind of the 100-hour mark, and I feel like that's been good. It's given us about 2 months of content. I feel like I can pick up a game, give you kind of an initial review of it, play it for 100 hours, play it for, 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, do kind of a final review of it, and then move on to the next game. If something ties my attention more than 100 hours or 1 to 2 months, awesome, then we'll stick with it. But that's kind of the intent, is to kind of shift around between 4 to 6 games over the course of the year, play them for about 100 hours or so, give a review and move on. And so that's the kind of space that we're about to hit with Balatro. I think I'm at 105, 110 hours played. We're going to take it up to 30 videos. I think number 26 or 27 is coming out tomorrow. And so starting sometime next week, we'll be on to our next game. And then I'm looking to kind of follow that particular cadence moving forward. And so, with that in mind, I did want to pull out from Steam something a viewer showed to me over the course of the past week. It is actually the Steam Deck Builders Fest. If you are interested in this style of deck builder game, many of them are on sale. He recommended Vault of the Void, which we will come in and touch on at some point. If you like Balatro that we've been playing over the course of the past couple of months, it's currently the most popular game and on sale. And then there's just a wide variety of them currently up and running. It's really kind of weirded me out. I don't know what the deal with this within this deck building space. I've had to been like very careful with my mouse cursor, but there's a bunch of titty games on here. Like maybe Colony City 27A was a titty game. It looks like she's very scantily clad and really chest heavy. And then the same thing down here at the bottom. The number 5 most popular one on here, the Town of Sins, is also within that sexual content, nudity, not safe for work, romance space. And so I don't completely know what's going on with the deck builders, but if you want to see some titties while you card game, this is apparently the place to be. Fucking wild that's the thing. But nonetheless, I did want to call out the Deck Builders Fest. If you want to see things like Slay the Spire, I'm sure it's within here. We'll come to Vault of the Void at some point in the future, and this does have the next game that we will be playing within the mix in Backpack Battles. Backpack Battles is one that's going to be kind of interesting to me. If you kind of follow the space of competitive card gaming, you might be familiar with Reynad. He was probably the most popular Hearthstone streamer kind of in the heyday of the game. He went to make the Tempo Storm organization, made competitive teams in like Hearthstone and Magic and Heart of the Swarm and maybe a couple of others. And then now they announced their auto battler maybe around COVID times, 2019, 2020. And it sounds like it's supposed to actually be coming out this year. Something that I had on my radar is potentially just switching to playing anyways, but a lot of the same ideas and concepts of the Bazaar apply within Backpack Battles. The idea with Backpack Battles is stop playing sound. Stop playing sound. Stop playing sound. There we go. It's an auto battler to where you are drafting items. The items go within your backpack, and then the items can be combined to make more powerful items. There's going to be synergies between what you get in your backpack and how they fight against each of your opponents. That's very similar in idea to what Reynad's game, The Bazaar, was going to be doing, and it gives us a nice kind of little preview to what's going to be happening there. And so this is what we intend to move on to playing over the course of the next month or so. I've been getting myself warmed up with this over the course of the past couple of weeks. Intend to play it, for the next 100 hours, 30 videos or so, and then we'll see how we feel at the course of the next couple of months. And so, that's what I intend to do. That's the cadence I intend to take. I don't plan on locking on any one game for way too long. I intend to kind of bounce around between what's available out there. If something ties us in and gets us hooked, great. If it does not, then we're kind of free to move on. And so I hope that's something that you could find enjoyable. I did want to come back to Legends of Runeterra and talk about Path of Champions. This is another game that fits right within that space of being a deck builder, and I'm sure almost like 95% of the channel is extremely familiar with Legends of Runeterra, so it might be nice to come back, but I'm wanting to give them some time to really put forth the Path of Champions changes, which is not, it's going to be like a bare minimum of a year before what they want to do really gets out there, right? With the big pull, this thing with like the Lysandra Freylord thing would have been intentionally released, and now the new team is coming in, redesigning stuff. They have to design stuff for 6 months. It's got to take another 6 months for it to start getting implemented. It's going to be a year before you start to see that stuff. And I'm interested in coming back to Path of Champions at some point. It's on my radar of things to do, but it's not something I'm going to be doing immediately now. And so, that's what we're going to do. I hope you stick around. I hope you're interested in what we're going to be doing. The way I have to say it is, I know all of these games we're going to be playing don't appeal to everyone. I know a lot of the people in our group really love drafting. A lot of the people in our group really love the League of Legends Runeterra universe. I know a lot of the people in the group come here just to hear me yammer on about deviled eggs and movies that came out before you were born. And so what I'm kind of hoping we can do, if we're playing a game that you're interested in, great. If not, come back in a couple months. Hopefully we've switched over to something else that may strike your fancy. But I know it's kind of tough to bounce around between the games with things you're not interested in, things you're not going to play and stuff. And so all I can say is, I hope you stick around. If you don't, come back in a couple months. Maybe we'll have something that you find interesting, because nonetheless, we plan on being here, right? My mantra in terms of content creation, it goes back to the days of Luis Scott Vargas and Magic the Gathering, back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. He was like the only person putting out video-based content within Magic, and if you didn't like what Luis was putting out, that was it. Nobody else was doing it. And so I always kind of had in my head and in my mind and my space that I'm going to put out content for the game that I'm playing. If you don't like that game, that's unfortunate. I hope you find something you like. If you don't like me, join the fucking club. There's not too many people that do. But the game that I'm playing, there is going to actively be content for. And we're going to be carrying that idea on through the future here. And so we're kind of wrapping up Balatro. We'll have our 100 hours in. We'll have our 30 videos in. We'll have our review in. Once we get that piece done, we're going to come over, dive into backpack battles. We'll get our 100 hours in. We'll get our 30 or so videos in. We'll get our review in. If we want to keep playing, if we want to keep battling, we'll keep battling with the backpacks for certain. And if that's not something that's going to carry me on, then it's going to be on to a new game. Hope you're interested in any and all of them. And so that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the future of the channel, because that is going to do it. And so, everybody out there, have yourselves a good one.